The Weaver's Melody, a magical love story. SleepStory welcomes you, dear listener. Tonight, we invite you to settle into a comfortable position and allow yourself to relax. Take a deep, calming breath in and out. Feel the tension leaving your body with each exhale. Now, let's embark on a journey into a world of gentle wonder and soft emotions. In the misty mountains of whispering pines, where fog rolled through the valleys and the scent of pine filled the air, lived a young woman named Mina. Her days were filled with the rhythmic sounds of looms and the soft rustle of silk, for Mina was a talented weaver in her family's small textile shop. Each morning, as the sun's first rays pierced through the mist, Mina would walk along the winding mountain paths, collecting dew-covered wildflowers and listening to the melodic songs of hidden birds. These morning walks were her quiet ritual, a moment of peace before the bustling day began. In her weaving room, Mina's fingers danced across the threads with practiced grace, creating patterns that seemed to capture the very essence of the mountains themselves. The rhythmic clacking of her loom often reminded her of music, the steady beat of village life woven into each piece she created. As she worked, she would sometimes hum quietly, her voice matching the tempo of her weaving, though something about the melody always felt incomplete. Mina's life was one of quiet contentment, filled with the vibrant colors of her textiles and the gentle smiles of the villagers. Yet lately, a subtle change had begun to creep into her daily routine. During her morning walks, she found herself pausing more often, tilting her head as if listening for something just beyond hearing. In the evening, as darkness settled over the mountains, she would sit by her window, her hands still working at the loom but her mind wandering to distant places she'd never seen. The summer air had grown heavy with the promise of change when Mina first noticed the music. It began as nothing more than a whisper, a hint of melody carried on the evening breeze. At first, she dismissed it as wind through the pines or perhaps a traveler passing through the village below. But as twilight deepened into dusk, the notes grew clearer, more intentional, weaving through the air like golden threads in one of her tapestries. Setting aside her work, Mina moved to her window, drawn by the haunting melody. The sound seemed to call to something deep within her, awakening a longing she hadn't known she carried. Her feet moved of their own accord, carrying her down the familiar path she walked each morning, though now transformed by evening shadows and the silver light of the rising moon. The music grew stronger as she walked, guiding her steps like an invisible thread. When she reached the edge of her usual route, rather than turning back toward home as she always had before, Mina found herself continuing onward, following a lesser-used path that wound deeper into the forest. Fireflies began to appear, their gentle light seeming to pulse in time with the mysterious melody. At last, the path opened onto a small clearing she had somehow never noticed before, though it couldn't have been far from her daily route. There, bathed in the soft glow of fireflies and the last remnants of twilight, sat a figure that would change her life forever. At the edge of a small clearing, bathed in the soft glow of fireflies, Mina saw him. A young man sat on a moss-covered stone, his fingers dancing over a strange, shimmering instrument that looked like it was crafted from moonlight and spider silk. As Mina watched, transfixed, the man lifted his head, his eyes meeting hers across the clearing. They were eyes that seemed to hold the depths of the universe, swirling with colors she had never seen before. "Hello," he said, his voice as melodic as his instrument. "I'm Kai." Mina blinked, wondering if she was dreaming. "I'm Mina," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your music, it's beautiful." Kai smiled, a warm expression that seemed to make the very air around him hum with energy. "Thank you. I've been traveling for a long time, following whispers on the wind." His words were cryptic, leaving Mina with more questions than answers. But before she could ask anything more, Kai's fingers danced across his instrument once again, and the clearing filled with a melody so haunting and beautiful that Mina forgot all her questions. From that evening on, Mina's quiet life in Whispering Pines took on a new, melodic quality. Each day, as dusk fell, she would meet Kai in the clearing. He would play his ethereal instrument, which he called an echo harp, and share fragments of stories from his travels. But always, there was an air of mystery about him, as if he were a riddle Mina couldn't quite solve. As the days passed, Mina found herself opening up to Kai, sharing her own stories of life in Whispering Pines. She told him about the joy she found in weaving, how each thread and color came together to create something beautiful. She spoke of her dreams to one day create a tapestry that could tell the story of their mountain home. Kai listened with rapt attention, his fingers often moving unconsciously across the echo harp's strings. Mina noticed that the music seemed to change with her words, as if Kai were weaving her stories into melodies. "Your dreams have a song of their own," he said softly one evening. "They resonate with the very essence of who you are." As the weeks went by, Mina found herself falling deeply in love, not just with Kai, but with the music they created together. For as Kai played, Mina discovered that she too had a gift. Her voice, when joined with Kai's melodies, created harmonies that seemed to awaken the world around them. Flowers would turn towards them as if listening, and on clear nights, the stars appeared to twinkle in rhythm with their songs. Yet, for all the beauty they created together, Kai remained an enigma. Sometimes, Mina would catch him tilting his head as if listening to something she couldn't hear. Other times, she'd find him scribbling strange symbols in a worn notebook, his brow furrowed in concentration. It was on a night when the moon hung full and heavy in the sky that Mina finally began to unravel the mystery of Kai. As they sat in their clearing, the fireflies dancing around them like earthbound stars, a haunting melody drifted to them on the breeze. It was faint, barely perceptible, but Kai's head snapped up, his eyes wide. "Do you hear that?" he asked, his voice urgent. Mina strained her ears. I think so." "What is it?" Kai's fingers moved across his echo harp, plucking out a complementary melody. As he played, the faint song grew stronger, and Mina gasped as she realized it was coming from the forest itself, from the rustle of leaves, the chirping of crickets, the soft patting of nocturnal creatures. "It's the song of the forest," Kai explained, his eyes shining with excitement. Every place, every being has its own melody. I can hear them all, calling out to be heard, to be woven together. As understanding dawned, Mina saw Kai in a new light. You're collecting these songs, she breathed. But why? Kai nodded, his expression a mixture of joy and sorrow. I'm searching for the perfect melody, a grand symphony that can bring harmony to the world. It's my gift, and my burden. In that moment, Mina understood the true nature of the man she had come to love. Kai was a musical savant, blessed, or perhaps cursed, with the ability to hear the heart songs of people and places. He had wandered the world, collecting these melodies, driven by the belief that somewhere out there was a perfect harmony waiting to be discovered. As this revelation settled over her, Mina felt a mixture of awe and sadness. She was in love with a man whose destiny was tied to the music of the world itself. How could she, a simple weaver from a small mountain village, hope to be part of such a grand purpose? But as she looked into Kai's eyes, seeing the love reflected there, Mina realized that perhaps she already was. For in their time together, hadn't they created melodies more beautiful than anything either of them had known before? With this new understanding, Mina took a deep breath and began to sing. Her voice joined with Kai's echo harp, weaving together with the song of the forest. And as their music rose into the night sky, Mina felt as if she could hear the heartbeat of the world itself, pulsing in perfect harmony with their love. But with this growing love came a creeping worry. Mina knew that Kai was a wanderer, destined to travel the world in search of new melodies. How could she, a simple weaver from a small mountain village, hope to keep him by her side? These thoughts weighed heavily on Mina's heart, casting a shadow over the joy she felt in Kai's presence. She tried to hide her concerns, but Kai, with his ability to hear the songs of the heart, noticed the discord in her melody. One evening, as they sat in their clearing, the fireflies dancing around them like earthbound stars, Kai turned to Mina. "What troubles you, my dear Mina?" he asked, his voice as gentle as a lullaby. Mina sighed, her gaze fixed on the misty valleys below. "I'm afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of losing you, of watching you leave to continue your journey, leaving me behind in silence." Kai reached out, his hand gently covering Mina's. "Mina," he said, his voice filled with tenderness, "do you know why I came to Whispering Pines, to this very village?" Mina shook her head, her eyes meeting his gentle gaze. "I came because I heard your song," Kai explained. "From far across the world, I heard the melody of your heart, the rhythm of your loom, the harmony of your kindness. It called to me, drew me here like a beacon." Mina's eyes widened in surprise. "But I'm just me," she whispered. Kai smiled, his eyes shining with love. "And that is more than enough. Your creativity, your love for this village and its people, these things create a symphony more beautiful than any I've ever heard." As Kai spoke, Mina felt a warmth spread through her chest, chasing away the chill of her fears. She realized that in focusing on her worry about losing Kai, she had been overlooking the beautiful music they were creating together. However, their newfound understanding was soon put to the test. As the seasons changed and winter approached, Kai began to hear discordant notes in the world's symphony. He explained to Mina that somewhere, far away, a melody was out of tune, causing disharmony that could lead to conflict and strife. "I have to go," Kai said one evening, his voice heavy with sadness. "If I don't find the source of this discord and mend it, the consequences could be dire." Mina felt as if her heart was being torn in two. The thought of losing Kai was unbearable, but she understood the importance of his mission. "How long will you be gone?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Kai shook his head. "I don't know. It could be weeks, months, or longer. The world is vast, and finding one discordant note in its symphony won't be easy." Their love, once a source of pure joy, now became tinged with an undercurrent of fear and uncertainty. Mina found herself torn between her desire to keep Kai close and her understanding of his crucial role in maintaining the world's harmony. Kai, in turn, struggled with his duty to the world and his love for Mina. As the day of Kai's departure drew near, Mina threw herself into her weaving. She worked day and night, her fingers flying over the loom, creating a tapestry unlike any she had ever made before. Into it, she wove the colors of their love, the soft green of the forest where they met, the warm gold of summer evenings spent together, the deep blue of Kai's eyes. On the morning Kai was to leave, Mina presented him with the tapestry. "Take this with you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Let it be a map to guide you home to me." Kai took the tapestry, his eyes wide with wonder. As his fingers traced the intricate patterns, a soft melody began to play, the song of their love, woven into the very fabric of the tapestry. "Mina," he breathed, "this is incredible. You've captured our song." Mina smiled through her tears. "Now you'll always have a piece of me with you. And I'll be here, weaving our story, until you return." As the sun rose over the mountains, Kai kissed Mina goodbye and set off on his journey, the magical tapestry safely tucked away in his pack. Mina watched him go, her heart heavy but filled with hope. In the days and months that followed, Mina found herself changed by her experience with Kai. Though she missed him terribly, she also felt a new sense of purpose. She began to hear the music in everyday life, in the rhythmic clacking of looms, in the laughter of children playing, in the whisper of wind through pine needles. Inspired by her time with Kai, Mina started to weave music into all her creations. Her textiles took on a new quality, seeming to hum with hidden melodies. People came from far and wide to see and hear her magical creations, and soon Whispering Pines became known as a place of music and wonder. And every evening, without fail, Mina would walk to their clearing and sing the song of her heart, knowing that somewhere, Kai would hear it and be guided back to her. As seasons changed and years passed, Mina's life blossomed in ways she never expected. She opened a school, teaching others to hear the music in the world around them and weave it into their art. She traveled to distant villages, sharing her gift and collecting new melodies to add to her ever-growing symphony. It was during one of these travels, 5 years after Kai's departure, that Mina experienced a moment that would both elate and devastate her. She had journeyed to a bustling port city far from her mountain home, invited to showcase her musical tapestries at a grand festival. As she walked through the crowded market square, her ears suddenly perked up at the faint sound of a familiar melody. Her heart began to race as she recognized the unique tones of Kai's echo harp. Mina rushed through the crowd, her eyes scanning frantically for the source of the music. As she rounded a corner, she caught a glimpse of a figure that could only be Kai. He was seated at the edge of a fountain, his fingers dancing over his instrument as a group of children listened in awe. "Kai!" Mina called out, her voice barely audible over the market's bustle. For a brief moment, Kai's eyes met hers. A flash of recognition passed over his face, and he began to stand. Mina's heart soared as she pushed through the last few people separating them. But fate had other plans. At that very instant, a large merchant cart rolled between them, obscuring Mina's view. By the time she managed to move around it, Kai was gone. The spot where he had been sitting was empty, with only a few lingering notes of his melody hanging in the air. Mina spent the rest of the day and well into the night searching the city, her heart alternating between hope and despair. Had she really seen Kai, or was it just a figment of her imagination, born from years of longing? As the festival ended and Mina prepared to return home, she was left with a bittersweet ache in her heart. This near reunion, as painful as it was, rekindled something in Mina. The melody of her heart, which had softened to a gentle hum over the years, now swelled once more into a passionate symphony. She threw herself into her art with renewed vigor, each thread she wove singing with the hope of Kai's return. Back in Whispering Pines, Mina channeled her complex emotions into creating her masterpiece. She began weaving an enormous tapestry, one that told not just her and Kai's story, but the story of their entire village. Into it, she wove the songs of the mountains, the whispers of the pine forests, the laughter of children, and the wisdom of elders. And at its heart, she wove the melody that she and Kai had created together, a song of love that transcended time and distance. As she worked, Mina felt closer to Kai than she had in years. Sometimes, in the quiet hours of the night, she could almost hear his echo harp playing along with the song in her heart. "Find your way back to me," she would whisper to the tapestry, her fingers never ceasing their intricate dance across the loom. Months passed as Mina worked tirelessly on her masterpiece. The villagers would often gather to watch her work, mesmerized by the way the tapestry seemed to shimmer with unseen melodies. Children claimed they could hear soft music when they pressed their ears to the woven threads. Take a deep breath, imagining the magical tapestry coming to life under Mina's skilled hands. Then, on a misty morning much like the one when she first heard Kai's music, as Mina was putting the final touches on her tapestry, she woke to the sound of a familiar melody. At first, she thought she was dreaming. It wouldn't be the first time she had imagined Kai's return. But as the notes grew stronger and clearer, she realized this was no dream. With her heart pounding, Mina rushed out of her house to find Kai standing in the village square, playing his echo harp. He looked older, his face weathered by his travels, but his eyes still shone with the same love and wonder she remembered. As their eyes met, the world around them seemed to burst into song. Every leaf, every stone, every breath of wind joined in their joyous reunion melody. Kai held out his hand, and Mina took it without hesitation, knowing that whatever journeys lay ahead, they would face them together, their love a harmony strong enough to weather any discord. "I heard your song," Kai said softly, his voice thick with emotion. "It guided me home." Mina smiled through her tears, squeezing his hand. "And I've woven our story," she replied, "so we'll never lose our way again." In the days that followed, Kai shared tales of his travels with Mina and the villagers. He spoke of distant lands where the music of the earth sang in strange and beautiful ways, of the discordant melodies he had mended, and of how, through it all, the song of Mina's love had been his constant companion. Together, Mina and Kai stood before her completed tapestry. As Kai's fingers traced the intricate patterns, the tapestry began to hum with music, not just their love song, but a grand symphony that seemed to encompass all the melodies Kai had gathered on his journey. "This is it," Kai whispered in awe. "The perfect melody I've been searching for. It was here all along, in the story of us, in the music of whispering pines." Mina leaned her head on Kai's shoulder, feeling the vibrations of the tapestry's song resonating through them both. "Perhaps," she said softly, "the perfect melody isn't something to be found, but something to be created together." From that day forward, Mina and Kai's lives became a beautiful duet. They traveled the world together, Mina weaving tapestries of the melodies they discovered, while Kai played his echo harp. Wherever they went, they left behind harmony and beauty, their love story inspiring others to listen for the music in their own hearts. And when they returned home to Whispering Pines, they would sit in their clearing, surrounded by fireflies and starlight, and play the song of their village, a melody that spoke of love, adventure, and the magic that exists in every moment, if only we take the time to listen. As we leave Mina and Kai in their mountain village, their love story eternally woven into the fabric of Whispering Pines, let yourself drift gently towards sleep. Feel the warmth of enduring love surrounding you, the soft notes of a beautiful melody in your heart. Your breath is slow and steady, your body relaxed and heavy. As you sink deeper into comfort, know that like Mina and Kai, you too have a unique song within you. It plays in your kindness, your dreams, your love for others. Let that melody guide you into peaceful slumber, where you may dance to the music of the spheres and wake refreshed, ready to hear the beautiful symphonies in your own everyday world. Sleep now, gentle dreamer, and may your night be filled with beautiful melodies and love. Let the song of Mina and Kai's story echo in your dreams, reminding you of the magic that exists in every moment, in every heartbeat, in every breath. As you drift off, imagine the soft sound of Kai's echo harp and Mina's gentle voice, weaving a lullaby just for you. Let it carry you into the realm of dreams, where every possibility awaits, and where the music of the heart plays on eternally. Good night, and sweet dreams.